Hey guys, Billy Davidson, Davidson Pressure Washer Painting, Hammond, Louisiana. We are at the shop here today doing some maintenance work. We're going to winterize these machines here shortly. But right now we're taking the belt guard off of this #1 machine. I noticed the other day it made a couple squeals, so I know it's probably time to go ahead and pop it off and change it out. I've never done one, so we've watched a couple videos. And I've talked to Pressure Pro about it. They said, take it off, and it's kind of self-explanatory once we get in there. And the belt is usually found locally at most hardware stores. So we're hoping that I'm going to go ahead and do both of them probably within the next few days. But I'm only going to do one at a time just in case there is an issue with it or something. So basically what we're doing is just going to use a little power drill and pop these screws out, and we're going to get to take a look at it here in a second. And what I'm going to do, instead of this video being an hour and a half long, I'm going to kind of do some little short clips here and there, kind of showing you how we changing this belt, and let you see how it looks. There goes that piece. Again, this is a 24 horsepower GX690.
4 individual belts. Yep, with the 3 bolts there. So basically what you do, you unscrew these bolts at the same time, and then you screw them into these holes and tighten them all at the same time gradually, and it pushes this wheel off of this spindle, this pulley wheel, off of the spindle with those 3 bolts. And then you can change your belts. And remember, this is the big pulley that you're doing this to.
Yeah.
And after you slip your new belts on, you just put this wheel back over the spindle and put your bolts back into the original holes.
How many belts we got in there total?
You have 4 individual belts.
That's 4 individual. Okay, I think I'm looking through the phone here. All right. Yep, that's what I thought.
So after you do that, you can put some Loctite if you want. It's good to put Loctite, and then you torque all 3 of them gradually and eventually to spec.
So, what bolts do we take off first to start to get our slack in the belt?
Well, it's non-adjustable, so what you're going to do is take these 3 big bolts.
Yeah, right. I got you.
You got to back them out and then start getting some kind of slack. Well, after you back all 3 of these completely out, you put them in the holes next to them. And when you tighten those, it pushes the pulley off of the spindle.
What size? Is that 1/2 inch or?
Those appear to be 1/2 inch. I can double check that.
So anyway, this twin cylinder GX690 Pressure Pro, 3,500 PSI, 8 gallons a minute.
And these screws that hold the belt shroud on have a little plastic washer to help keep water and stuff out.
Oh, kind of like a little seal.
You don't want to lose those. You want to make sure you have your screws in a safe
put them in a cup or something.
Yeah. Alright, and then, it's a half.
And guys, I'll admit straight up, I can do the simple stuff, spark plugs and oil changes, but when it comes to this, I don't have the patience for it and the time. I gotta constantly be on this phone. I generally get between 700 and 800 business leads each month. So you can imagine I spend a lot of hours on the phone. Matter of fact, I don't even drive because of that. Usually one of the guys is driving. I'm constantly working my leads and either sending those leads out to subs that we're not interested in doing, or if it's either out of our area. And then I take the leads and pick the leads that I want to contend with, whether it's here locally or if it's we can go anywhere from Texas. Got some bids out in Oklahoma City, so that's a little far out of our range, but we're hoping to get that and then maybe sub that out. But we like to run anywhere from Houston, Beaumont, traveling back east, of course through Louisiana here, and we can service Mississippi as far as Jackson, all the way down to Biloxi, Gulfport. That's all well within our range. And we will go further east than that on to Grand Bay and Mobile, Alabama. There's some very large projects that we do out there every couple years. And then occasionally we'll go on and keep out east into the panhandle of Florida those jobs, we will usually only travel to Florida if they're over a 10K job. And we do get that 2 or 3 times a year. So it's worth running down there. And the people that we work for down there actually own the hotel. And so we do the hotels and we stay there for free, obviously. So it makes it worth it. We don't have that lodging expense. But of course, whenever we run in out of town like that, we compensate the guys way more than than just by the hourly rate. So we always got to keep that in mind. So yeah, this is what we're gonna be doing today. We actually expecting some temperatures this afternoon to drop into the low 20s, which is highly unusual for our area. Very unusual. So, but you got a 1/2 inch there.
Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch for sure.
And Jacob here is our mechanic, in-house mechanic right here.
Yeah, they just come right out.
If he would do this pro bono though, that would be nice. They backing out.
Yep. You want to do them all gradually at the same time, and especially when you torque them down so it seats evenly. You don't torque one side too tight and then the other side can't torque down all the way.
Right.
It's going to wobble. So you want to have even torque when you're putting it back on.
So you're just backing them out 2 or 3 turns each and then switching back and forth?
Yeah, I'm just doing that even. It's a good habit to have. Might take a little longer, but
Now, once that bolt comes out, is there any washers or any pins or?
There is one washer on each bolt.
Gotcha.
And yeah, the last people that put it in put Loctite on the tip of the bolt there.
Yeah, that's from the factory. Let me see. You got that one out all the way? Let me see. So this is I don't know if you can see it on this camera. Let's see if I can step out in the light here. It's your standard. Y'all may see my hand swollen. We got in a head-on collision a few nights ago.
You hand start these bolts when you put them back in, the little holes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last thing you want to do is strip it, and then good luck changing your belts. I used to work in the plants, and what we would have to do if we couldn't take the pulley off is you'd have to take a strap and like pull it onto the pulley as you turn it.
Right, yeah.
But we don't want to do that. We're going to do it the correct way. And yeah, you turn to the left a little bit till you hear it click, and then keep turning to the right, and you get those threads in there nice and straight. And then you can start gradually torquing it down, and what that will do is it will force this pulley off of the spindle. And another important thing to keep in mind is there is a 10 millimeter here. That 10 millimeter keeps this part on, so just be wary of that. This will take both of these off if you have that bolt out.
I got it. Jacob, could you reach around there, flip that key on, and tell how many hours is on that machine? Just so we can note that as well for our viewers.
Okay.
I have no idea, actually.
You are at 914.6 hours.
So between 900 and 1,000 hours, you need to change it. I think we probably could run this one a little longer, but I heard it squeak, and I'm the type, I'd rather take care of it before it leaves us, kicks us down in the dirt one night when we really need it. Yeah. So right at 1,000 hours on that one. And this machine may have a little less, I'm not sure. But this is actually the first time I've even put a wrench on this machine after dang near 1,000 hours.
Wow.
And we've used them. I mean, we don't play around. Sometimes when they running, they generally set about 90% power, sometimes 100% power. Out there in the beating heat and all of that. I will tell you this. I think what helps the life of these machines, of course, your regular maintenance, your oil changes, that sort of thing. We run good gas through it. We try not to get any cheap, trashy gas. Because, obviously we are making a lot of money anytime one of these machines is running. You're making sometimes hundreds of dollars an hour, and sometimes $1,000 an hour. There was one time I made $1,700 in 1 hour with one machine. That's rare, but I did it. So, you know, obviously the oil changing and stuff like that. But if you see the spacing between these two machines, you don't want, especially if you're running both machines, it's 100 degrees outside in the summertime, you don't want that thermal transfer from one machine to the other, and then they both combined start to get heated up. So make sure you at least got 36 inches, 48 inches of space in between them. And you know, because this machine, when it's running, it's inhaling a lot of air through the cooling system, and it can draw some of the exhaust out of that machine. So, you know, make sure you got them far enough apart, and you know, that way you won't have that thermal transfer. And I think that helps out a lot, is trying to keep these machines in the shade whenever possible. And you know, obviously keep the trigger pulled, because that trigger, these are air cooled machines, but I promise you that water plays a very, very important part in cooling this system down when that trigger is being pulled. And that's, and again, while we have the bypass lines as well. So we got this coming off just like we expected.
All right. It's back on here. And it never hurts to inspect what you're doing, especially with a flashlight. And I've watched the proper tutorials beforehand to make sure there's not like a set screw or something that you would need to get before taking it off.
Right, yeah, something holding it on.
Yeah.
You beat on that thing for all day and couldn't find out there's a set screw or something in it.
Yeah, you definitely, okay, that looks
We
good.
got the other guy showing up, I think now. Is that Chris with the antifreeze stuff?
Yeah, that's Chris.
We got to do some winterization on these big pumps and our parking lot striking machines. Any water in those parking lot striking machines would freeze. Was you able to get it, Chris?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can you hit that light switch up there to turn on? Set it on at least 60 minutes, and let's see if we can get this to turn on here. Oh yeah, nice. All right, guys, we're gonna break away from this for a minute. Once we take the belts off and we get them, I'm gonna cut back to it, show you what kind of belts we're using for these machines. And again, these are 3,500 PSI. Honda GX690 twin cylinder pressure washers, 8 gallon per minute pumps on it. They are a beast of a machine. Probably about 350 pounds of solid muscle, not an ounce of fat on these bad boys. They will push you down if you crank them up 100%. So we love it. We love holding that power. It speeds our work up and gets us home to our families. So I'll be back here in a minute or so and show y'all what else we got going on. So y'all hang tight.